हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। तो अब हम देखने वाले हैं एनसीईआरटी के पॉलिटी क्लास 6, जिसमें आज हम शुरू करेंगे यूनिट 4 जो कि है लाइवलीहुड। तो इसमें हम पहले देखेंगे चैप्टर 8 जो कि है रूरल लाइवलीहुड। तो शुरू करते हैं हमारा चैप्टर। In the first chapter, we looked at many kinds of diversity in our lives. We also explored how living in different regions has an effect on the work people do, the kinds of plants, trees, crops, or things that become important to them. In this chapter, we will look at the different ways in which people earn their living in villages. And here too, as in the first two chapters, we will examine whether people have equal opportunities to earn a living. We will look at the similarities in their life situations and the problems that they face. Kalpattu village. Kalpattu is a village that's close to the sea coast in Tamil Nadu. People here do many kinds of work. As in other villages, here too there is non-farm works such as making baskets, utensils, pots, bricks, bullock carts, etc. There are people who provide services such as blacksmiths, nurses, teachers, washermen, weavers, barbers, cycle repair mechanics, and so on. There are also some shopkeepers and traders. In the main street, which looks like a bazaar, you will find a variety of small shops such as tea shops, grocery shops, barber shops, a cloth shop, a tailor, and 2 fertilizers and seed shops. There are 4 tea shops which sell tiffins such as idli, dosa, and uppam in the morning, and snacks like vada, bonda, and Mysore pak in the evening. Near the tea shops, in a corner, lives a blacksmith family whose home serves as their workshop. Next to their home is a cycle hire and repair shop. 2 families earn a living by washing clothes. There are some people who go to nearby town to work as construction workers and lorry drivers. The village is surrounded by low hills. Paddy is the main crop that is grown in irrigated lands. Most of the families earn a living through agriculture. There are some coconut groves around. Cotton, sugarcane, and plantain are also grown, and there are mango orchards. Let us now meet some people who work in the fields in Kalpattu and see what we can learn about farming from them. Tulasi. All of us here work on Ramlingan's land. He has 20 acres of paddy fields in Kalpattu. Even before I was married, I used to work on paddy fields in my parental village. I work from 8:30 in the morning till 4:30 in the evening, and Karuthamma, Ramalingam's wife, supervises us. This is one of the few times in the year that I find regular work. Now I am transplanting the paddy. When the plants have grown a bit, Ramalingam will call us again for weeding and then finally once again for the harvesting. When I was young, I could do this work with no difficulty. But now, as I grow older, I find bending for long hours with my feet in water very painful. Ramalingam pays ₹40 per day. This is a little less than what laborers get in my home village. But I come here because I can depend on him to call me whenever there is work. Unlike others, he does not go looking for cheaper labor from other villages. My husband Raman is also a laborer. We don't own any land. During this time of the year, he sprays pesticides. When there is no work on the farm, he finds work outside, either loading sand from the river or stone from the quarry nearby. This is sent by truck to be used in nearby towns to make houses. Apart from working on the land, I do all the tasks at home. I cook food for my family, clean the house, and wash clothes. I go with other women to the nearby forest to collect firewood. About 1 kilometer away, we have a village borewell from where I fetch water. My husband helps in getting materials such as groceries for the house. Our school-going daughters are the joy of our lives. Last year, one of them fell ill and had to be taken to the hospital in town. We had to sell our cow to pay back the money we borrowed from Ramalingam for her treatment. As you saw in Tulasi's story, poor families in rural areas often spend a lot of time every day collecting firewood, getting water, and grazing their cattle. Even though they do not earn any money from these activities, they have to do them for the household. The family needs to spend time doing this as they are not able to survive on the little money they earn. Nearly two-fifths of all rural families are agricultural laborers in our country. There are some who have small plots of land while others like Tulsi are landless. Not being able to earn money throughout the year forces people in many rural areas to travel long distances in search of work. This travel or migration takes place during particular seasons. Sekhar, we have to carry this paddy to our house. My family has just finished harvesting our field. We don't own much land, only 2 acres. We manage to do all the work on our own. At times, especially during the harvest, I take the help of other small farmers and in turn help them harvest their field. The trader gave me seeds and fertilizers as a loan. To pay back this loan, I have to sell my paddy to him at a somewhat lower price than what I would get in the market. He has sent his agent to remind farmers who have taken loans that they will sell the paddy only to him. I will probably get 60 bags of paddy from my field. Some of these I will sell to settle the loan. The rest will be used in my home. But whatever I have will last only 8 months. So I need to earn some money. I work in Ramalingam's rice mill. Here I help him collect paddy from other farmers in the neighboring villages. We also have a hybrid cow whose milk we sell in the local milk cooperative. This way we get a little extra money for our everyday needs. On being in depth, as you have read above, very often farmers like Sekhar need to borrow money to purchase basic things like seeds, fertilizers and pesticides. Often they borrow this money from money lenders. If the seeds are not of good quality or pests attack their crop, there can be a major crop failure. The crops can also be ruined in the monsoon if the monsoon does not bring enough rain. When this happens, farmers sometimes are unable to pay back their loans, and for the family to survive, they may even have to borrow more money. Soon the loan becomes so large that no matter what they earn, they are unable to repay. This is when we can say they are caught in debt. In recent years, this has become a major cause of distress among farmers. In some areas, this has also resulted in many farmers committing suicide. Ramalingam and Karuthama. In addition to land, Ramalingam's family owns a rice mill and a shop selling seeds, pesticides, etc. For the rice mill, they used some of their own money and also borrowed from the government bank. They buy paddy from within the village and from surrounding villages. The rice that is produced in the mill is sold to traders in nearby towns. This gives them a substantial income. Terrace farming in Nagaland. This is a village called Chizami, which is in the Phek district in Nagaland. The people of this village belong to the Chekesang community. They do terrace cultivation. This means that the land on a hill slope is made into flat plots and carved out into steps. The sides of each plot are raised in order to retain water. This allows water to stand in the field, which is best for rice cultivation. The people of Chizami have their own individual fields, but they also work collectively in each other's fields. They form groups of 6 or 8 and take an entire mountainside to clean the weeds on it. Each group is together once their work for the day is over. This goes on for several days until the work is completed. Agricultural laborers and farmers in India. In Kalpattu village, there are agricultural laborers like Tulsi and many small farmers like Sekhar, and a few big farmers like Ramalinga. In India, nearly 2 out of every 5 rural families are agricultural laborer families. All of them depend on the work they do on other people's fields to earn a living. Many of them are landless and others may own very small plots of land. In the case of small farmers like Sekhar, their land is barely enough to meet their needs. In India, 80% of farmers belong to this group. Only 20% of India's farmers are like Ramalingam. These large farmers cultivate most of the land in the villages. A large part of their produce is sold in the market. Many of them have started other businesses such as shops, money lending, trading, small factories, etc. We have looked at farming in Kalpattu. Apart from farming, many people in rural areas depend upon collection from the forest, animal husbandry, dairy produce, fishing, etc. For example, in some villages in central India, both farming and collection from the forest are important sources of livelihood. Collecting mahua, tendu leaves, honey to be sold to traders is an important source of additional income. Similarly, selling milk to the village cooperative society or taking milk to the nearby town may be the main source of livelihood for some families. In the coastal areas, we find fishing villages. Let us find out more about the lives of a fishing family by reading about Aruna and Parivelan who live in Puduppet, a village close to Kalpattu. Aruna and Parivelan, not very far from Kalpattu, is the village of Puduppet. People here earn their living by fishing. Their houses are close to the sea and one finds rows of catamarans and nets lying around. At about 7 o'clock in the morning, there is a lot of activity on the beach. This is the time when the catamarans return with their catch and women gather to buy and sell fish. My husband Parivalan, my brother and my brother-in-law returned late today. I was very worried. They go to sea together in our catamaran. They said they were caught in a storm. I have kept aside some fish for the family. I will auction the rest. The money I get from the auction will be divided into 4 shares. One is for each person who went fishing and the fourth one is for the equipment. Since we own the catamaran engine and nets, we get that share too. We have taken a loan from a bank and purchased an engine which is fixed on the catamaran. Now they can go far into the sea so that they can get a better catch. The women who buy fish here will carry them in baskets to be sold in nearby villages. Then there are others like traders who buy for the shops in the town. I will only finish this auction by noon. In the evening, my husband and our relatives will untangle and repair our nets. Early tomorrow morning, around 2 a.m., they will set out to sea again. Every year, for at least about 4 months during the monsoon, they cannot go to the sea because this is when the fish breed. During these months, we survive by borrowing from the trader. Because of this, later on, we are forced to sell the fish to the trader and cannot do our auction. Those lean months are the most difficult. Last year, we suffered a lot because of the tsunami. Rural livelihoods. People in rural areas earn their living in various ways. Some work on farms while others earn their living on non-farm activities. Working on farms involves operations such as preparing the land, sowing, weeding, and harvesting of crops. We depend on nature for the growth of these crops. Hence, life revolves around certain seasons. People are busy during sowing and harvesting and less so at other times. Rural people in different regions of the country grow different crops. However, we do find similarities in their life situations and in the problems that they face. How people are able to survive or earn will depend upon the land that they cultivate. Many depend on these lands for work as laborers. Most farmers grow crops both for their own requirements and also to sell in the market. Some have to sell to traders from from whom they have borrowed money. For their survival, many families need to borrow money for their work or when no work is available. There are some families in rural areas who thrive on large acres of land, business, and other activities. However, most small farmers, agricultural laborers, fishing families, craftspersons in the villages do not find enough work to keep them employed throughout the year. तो ये है इस चैप्टर का एक्सरसाइज। इसी के साथ हमारा ये चैप्टर कंप्लीट हो गया है। तो क्योंकि ये छोटा सा चैप्टर था तो अभी हम शुरू करने वाले हैं चैप्टर 9 जो कि है अर्बन लाइवलीहुड्स। There are more than 5,000 towns and 27 big cities in India. Big cities like Chennai, Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, etc. have more than a million people living and working here. They say that the city never sleeps. Let's visit one and find out about the work people do in the city. Are they employed by someone or are they self-employed? How do they organize themselves? And do they have similar employment and earning opportunities? Working on the street. This is the city where my cousin lives. I have been here only a few times. It is very big. Once when I came here, my cousin took me around. We left the house early in the morning. As we turned the corner onto the main street, we saw that it was already buzzing with activity. The vegetable vendor was busy arranging tomatoes, carrots, and cucumbers in baskets at her stall so that people could see what she had to sell. Next to her stall was a lovely colorful one that sold all kinds of flowers. We bought a red rose and a yellow rose. On the pavement opposite, we saw a person selling newspapers with a small crowd of people around him. Everyone wanted to read the news. Buses whizzed past and there were auto rickshaws filled with school children. Nearby, under a tree, a cobbler sat taking his tools and materials out of a small tin box. Next to him, the roadside barber had begun his work. He already had a customer who wanted an early morning shave. A little way down the road, a woman was pushing along a cart with all kinds of plastic bottles, boxes, hairpins, clips, etc. in it, while another person on a cycle trolley was carrying vegetables to sell to people in their houses. We came to a place where rickshaws were standing in a row waiting for customers. We decided to take one to the market, which was about 2 kilometers down the road. Bachu Manjhi, a cycle rickshaw puller. I come from a village in Bihar where I worked as a mason. My wife and 3 children live in the village. We don't own land. In the village, I did not get masonry work regularly. The income that I earned was not enough for our family. After I reached the city, I bought an old cycle rickshaw and paid for it in installments. This was many years ago. I come to the bus stop every morning and take the customers wherever they want to go. I work till 8:30 in the evening. I take rides up to 6 kilometers in the surrounding area. Each customer gives me 5 to 10 per trip depending on the distance. When I am ill, I can't do this work, so on those days I don't earn anything. I stay with my friends in a rented room. They work in a nearby factory. I earn between 80 to 100 every day, out of which I spend 50 to 60 on food and rent. The rest I save for my family. I visit my village 2 or 3 times a year to see my family. Though my family survives on the money I send, my wife also earns from agricultural work that she gets once in a while. Like Bachu Manjhi, a large number of people in the city work on the streets. In a survey of Ahmedabad city, it was found that 12% of all the workers in the city were people working on the street. They sometimes sell things or repair them or provide a service. They work on their own. They are not employed by anyone and therefore have to organize their own work. They have to plan how much to purchase as well as where and how to set up their shops. The shops are usually temporary structures, sometimes just some boards or papers spread over discarded boxes, or maybe a canvas sheet hung up on a few poles. They may also use their own carts or simply a plastic sheet spread on the pavement. They can be asked to dismantle their shops at any time by the police. They have no security. There are certain parts of the city where these hawkers are not allowed to enter. Vendors sell things that are often prepared at home by their families, who purchase, clean, sort, and make them ready to sell. For example, those who sell food or snacks on the street prepare most of this at home. There are almost 1 crore street vendors in the country working in urban areas. Street vending was still recently looked upon only as an obstruction to traffic and to people walking. However, with an effort of many organizations, it is now recognized as a general benefit and as a right of people to earn their livelihood. The government is thinking about modifying the law that bans street vendors so that they have a place to work and that there is also a free flow of traffic and people. Hawking zones have been suggested for towns and cities. It has also been suggested that mobile vendors should be allowed to move around freely. Hawkers need to be part of committees that are set up to take these and other decisions relating to them. In the market. When we reached the market, the shops were just beginning to open, but the place was already crowded because of the festival season. There were rows and rows of shops selling sweets, toys, clothes, footwear, utensils, electronic goods, etc. There was a dentist clinic also at one end. My cousin had an appointment with the dentist. We went there first so that we would not miss our turn. We had to wait for a while in a room before she was called inside. The dentist examined her and asked her to come back the following day to get a cavity in her tooth filled. My cousin was scared because she thought the process would be painful and was upset that she had allowed her teeth to go bad. From the dental clinic, she took me to a new garment showroom because I wanted to buy some ready-made clothes. The showroom had 3 floors. Each floor had different types of clothes. We went to the third floor where clothes for girls were kept. Harpreet and Bandhana, business persons. My father and uncle worked in a small shop. During festival times and on Sundays, my mother and I helped them in the shop. I started working there only after I completed my college. Harpreet. We opened this showroom some years ago. I am a dress designer. Our business has changed. These days, people prefer to buy ready-made clothes rather than have them stitched. The trend these days is for ready-made garments. You also need an attractive display for them. Bandhana. For our showroom, we buy things from different places. We buy most of the materials from Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Ludhiana, and Tripura. Some materials also come from Noida and Gurgaon, towns near Delhi. We get some dress items from foreign countries too. There are several things we need to do to run this showroom properly. We advertise in various newspapers, cinema theaters, television, and radio channels. Currently, this building is rented, but soon we plan to buy it. Ever since this market has become the main market for people living in the surrounding apartments, our business has grown. We have been able to buy a car and book a flat in an apartment complex nearby. Like Harpreet and Bandhana, there are many people who own shops in various markets of the city. These shops may be small or large and they sell different things. Most business persons manage their own shops or business. They are not employed by anyone, but they do employ a number of other workers as supervisors and helpers. These are permanent shops that are given a license to do business by the municipal corporation. The municipal corporation also decides on which day of the week the market has to remain closed. For example, the shops in the above market are closed on Wednesdays. This market also has small offices and shops that provide services such as banks, courier services, and others. In the factory workshop area, I wanted to have jari work done on one of my dresses which I needed for a special occasion. My cousin said that she knew Nirmala who works in a garment factory. Nirmala's neighbors do jari work and embroidery. So we caught a bus and headed towards the factory area. The bus was really crowded. At every stop, more and more people got on, and hardly anyone seemed to get off. People were pushing others to make more space for themselves. My cousin guided me to a corner so that we would not get squashed. I wondered how people travel like this every day. As the bus entered the factory area, people started getting off. We also got off soon at a crossing. What a relief that was! There were a large number of people sitting on railings or in groups at the crossing. They seemed to be waiting for someone. Some groups had people on scooters standing by and talking with them. My cousin explained that this place was called labor chalk. These were daily wage laborers who work as helpers to masons. They dig at construction sites, lift roads, or unload trucks in the market, dig pipelines and telephone cables, and also build roads. There are thousands of such casual workers in the city. We entered the factory area to find it full of small workshops. There seemed to be endless rows of them. In one section, we saw people working in a small room on sewing machines where cloth was being stitched. One person operated one sewing machine. Clothes that had been stitched were stacked on one side of the room. We located Nirmala in the stitching unit. She was happy to meet my cousin and promised to get zari work done on my dress. Nirmala works as a tailor in an export garment unit. The factory where she works makes summer clothes for people in foreign countries like USA, UK, Germany, and the Netherlands. Workers like Nirmala have to work very long hours in the months from December to April. A normal working day begins at 9 a.m. and finishes only by 10 p.m., sometimes even later. She works for 6 days a week. At times when the works need to be done urgently, she works on Sundays too. Nirmala is paid rupees 80 a day for 8 hours and rupees 40 extra for working late. By June, the work is over and the factory reduces its staff. Nirmala will also be asked to leave. For about 3 or 4 months in the year, there is no work for her. Most workers like Nirmala are employed on what is known as casual basis. That means they are required to come as and when the employer needs them. They are employed when the employer gets large orders or during certain seasons. At other times of the year, they have to find some other work. Jobs like Nirmala's are not permanent. If workers complain about their pay or working conditions, they are asked to leave. There is no job security or protection. If there is ill treatment, they are also expected to work very long hours. For example, in the cloth mill units, the workers work on day and night shifts, with each shift lasting 12 hours. One worker works on one machine for 12 hours and then is replaced by another on the same machine for the next 12 hours. In the office area, my aunt Sudha works as a marketing manager. She had asked us to reach her office before 5:30 p.m. We thought we would get late, so we took an auto rickshaw that managed to get us there just in time. Her office was in an area surrounded by tall buildings. There were hundreds of people coming out. Some headed for the car park, while others went towards the row of buses. My aunt is a marketing manager in a company which manufactures biscuits. The factory where the biscuits are made is outside the city. She supervises the work of 50 salespersons who travel to different parts of the city. They get orders from shopkeepers and collect payments from them. She had divided the city into 6 regions, and once a week she meets the salesperson of each region. She checks their progress report and discusses problems they face. She has to plan the sales in the entire city and often has to work late and travel to different places. She gets a regular salary every month and is a permanent worker with the company. She can expect her job to continue for a long period of time. Being a permanent worker, she also gets other benefits such as the following: savings for old age. A part of her salary is kept in a fund with the government. She will earn interest on these savings when she retires from this job. She will get this money and she can then live on that. Holidays. She gets off on Sundays and national holidays. She also gets some days as annual leave. medical facilities for her family. Her company pays the medical expenses up to a certain amount for her and her family members. She gets medical leave if she falls ill, and her salary is not cut if she takes this leave. There are many workers in the city who work in offices, factories, and government departments where they are employed as regular and permanent workers. They attend the same office or factory regularly. Their work is clearly identified. They get a regular salary. Unlike casual workers, they will not be asked to leave if the factory does not have much work. At the end of the day, we got into my aunt's car exhausted, but it had been so much fun, and I thought how interesting that so many people do say so many different things in the city. They have probably never met each other, but it is their work that ties them together and helps to make up city life. तो ये है इस चैप्टर का एक्सरसाइज। इसी के साथ हमारा ये चैप्टर कंप्लीट होता है। साथ ही हमारा क्लास 6 का पॉलिटी का बुक भी कंप्लीट हो गया है। और तो अगर आप चैनल पर नए हैं तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए और नोटिफिकेशन आइकन पर क्लिक कर दीजिए ताकि आपको सारे वीडियोस के अपडेट्स मिल सके। और अगर आपको वीडियो अच्छा लगे तो लाइक कर दीजिए और अपने दोस्तों के साथ शेयर करिए ताकि उन्हें भी हेल्प हो सके। तो हमारा ये सेशन यहीं तक था। थैंक यू, थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग।